Okay, I thought we'd have a look at the PCB using the USB microscope before I take the components off, just so we can have a look around, see where they are when they're on the board. Over here, got a connector, seems to have some sort of corrosion on it. Not sure what that is. Could be heat, could be chemical sort of corrosion. I think that was a connector that went down to the read-write heads. Over here I've got a very large IC, made by LSI it looks like. Probably some sort of custom chip. So it probably does a lot of the electronics on the board. Here we've got a large flash chip. Very difficult to read the numbers there. Seems to be etched in some way and quite difficult to read. And then down here we've got a 25FS406, could be a serial EEPROM, some sort of storage for calibration maybe. Quite a few resistors, low value, 3R3, 1 ohm, another 1 ohm. Over here we've got something called Smooth Dylan, so that could be some sort of, let's get it round, some sort of custom IC to do something. It's got Seagate written on it. Probably some sort of custom logic. Could be analog actually, seem to be a lot of analog components going into that. What I might do is have a look at the board, see if we can work out how many layers it is. There's quite a few discrete surface mount components, so it may be possible to have a look inside some of those. Transistor, we can have a look inside that, see what's going on in there. Yeah, quite a lot of components with no markings, quite a lot of empty positions as well, so they can probably have different configurations of the board. So empty IC position there. So maybe that was a connector. Maybe it looks like an IC with a heatsink pad. So have a quick look and see whether that was a connector. No, it's probably an IC position. There's solder underneath. Yeah, probably is a heatsink pad. Lots more empty pads. Yeah, I don't seem to have the top of the range model. Quite a few options missing on here. Ah, that's interesting. Something with TU written on it. Could be a crystal. Got 4 connections. Could be a resonator. And we've got the connector across the top there. That's the SATA connector. But we'll decap the ICs, see what's inside there. Maybe have a go at slicing components up. That may not work. Let's take some interesting components off. The components on this board are all on the top. On the back, nothing really, nothing of interest. So we'll take off the ICs and some interesting discrete components. I'll store those away in some pots for later on. We'll decap the ICs, see if we can get access to the dies inside. The way that I do it is to heat them up and carbonize the case, and when that happens there is a chance that we'll lose the dies, they'll break. But if I can get even fragments, I'll put those under the microscope. So let's get the hot air gun going. See if we can lift up some of these components. That's a very big IC we got in the middle there. I've got the gun set to 400 degrees C here, as I'm not really bothered about removing other components like that and that. just really want to get the ICs off. They're going to be subjected to a lot more heat in the future, so it really doesn't matter. See if I can get that off. This big chip's a bit tricky, there's a lot of pins, you've got to keep the heat going and then it should just lift off. Or maybe not. Ah, there we go. That's interesting. It's quite a flexible package, that. I think we've started to decap it already. Oh, there we go. Package has melted. There's a lovely smell coming off that. Come on. There we go. That's interesting. So that was part of the problem. There's two sets of pins on that package. There's a set inside and a set around the outside, and also a heat sinking pad there. We should be able to get that decapped. It's very, very thin as well. Almost like a sheet of paper with legs on. Let's see if we can get the flash chip off. I think it's a flash chip. It might be a RAM chip. I suspect it's a flash chip. I'll get the part number for that as well. This is going to entail heating the balls up underneath. Get some air under there. And there we go. So you can see under there, the balls. So there's no pins on this one, there's just balls of solder which you can heat up. What have we got next? Let's get that serial EEPROM off. Pretty sure that's a serial EEPROM. Shouldn't take long. Of course it will. There we go. 8 pins on that one. Let's take the smooth Dylan off, whatever that is. Again, that looks like some sort of full grid array. So we can get some heat underneath it. Is it coming off? No. It's a tricky one. Ah, there we go. I saw some meltage underneath. Might be a heatsink under there. Right, there we go. Where's the heatsink? So again, that's just a ball grid array with a heatsink pad in the middle. What else is there? Let's take that transistor off. That shouldn't take long. There we go. Let's take all these low value resistors off. It'll be interesting if we can get one of those apart and see what the construction of that is internally. So that's just a couple of pads there. Ceramic capacitor, I suspect. We can test some of these discrete components on the component tester I've got, and that'll tell us exactly what that is. It's quite handy having something like that, because some of these components have no markings at all. Some of them do have markings, and some of them have codes which you have to look up. So some of the resistors have actually got their value on top. Others, these capacitors here for instance, don't have anything on them at all. There we go. What else have we got? I think we might have everything that's interesting there. Another transistor, we can pull that off and test that with the component tester. That's if the heat hasn't destroyed it. This is quite a hot setting. But I'm not too bothered about that. If we destroy it, we destroy it. I'll take these low value resistors off. There we go. And I think that that's probably everything. Oh, what's that down there? Oh, something interesting there. Could be a capacitor. We'll have a look at that. Not sure what that is. Oh yes, some crystal or something there. Take that off. Have a look at that. Right, I think we'll go with that. And I'm not sure. We might have a look and see how many layers there are on the PCB. I'll slice through somewhere. Maybe here. Or maybe through the middle there. In which case I might take some more components off. But we'll have a look at that. Let's store some ICs in a pot. Don't want to lose those. So we've got semiconductors in there. Put these low value resistors in there, and I think everything else in here. Well, actually, let's put semiconductor type things in here. What is that? Could be. I have no idea what that is. That's an interesting thing. We'll find out what that is. Oh, another transistor. And discrete components in here. Oh, very small. Not quite so small. And smallish. There we go.